The Houston Texans rookies hit the field as rookie minicamp got underway. And as D'Amico Ryans explained, it's a nice base layer for these players to start to learn how the Texans go about their business and learn with the coaches how exactly these players best take in information and get better as football players. It's a lighter workout, but still plenty to observe from the players. 4 observations from the rookie minicamp workout. Let's start with the Iowa State duo. Jaden Higgins looks the part, and Jaylen Null sounded the part as well. Let's start with Higgins, the first draft pick the Texans made in the 2025 NFL draft. Man, he is every bit 6'4", what he's listed on in his bio. He is every bit, but he is a little bit wider in the shoulders than I remember him being at the Senior Bowl back in Mobile, Alabama earlier this year. And even watching him at Iowa State, he looks like he's a little bit more stout than you would think a long former basketball playing type of wide receiver would be. The physicality is clear with Jaden Higgins when you see his size, not only the height, but the broadness on the shoulders. And I do wonder a little bit if it's the number that makes him look a little bit wider across the shoulders, just because he's 81 now. Don't go run out and buy your jerseys just yet. That could change at the end of training camp before the regular season starts. But he was 9 in college. I always feel like those single-digit numbers slim guys down a little bit. So 9 in college, 81 in the pros. Maybe he just looks a little bit bigger because of the number on the back. But I digress. Higgins, he looked every bit of 6'4", and then he looked agile and fast. And not agile and fast for a 6'4" wide receiver. He just looked agile and fast. He ran the drills effectively, a bunch of the different routes he talked about after the practice. These early workouts, just try to get better, learn some of the verbiage, learn exactly how the coaches want them to run certain routes, and it's really fine-tuning exactly what he's going to be doing for the Houston Texans. But Higgins, 6'4", a little bit broader in the shoulders than I thought he was. He looks every bit the part of the top draft pick that the Texans invested in him. Now his teammate from Iowa State and now his teammate with the Houston Texans, Jaylen Null, well, he sounded the part. Not to say that he didn't look the part as well. Null, of course, is a speedy, quick wide receiver. He showcased that a handful of times. And one of the special teams drill, you really kind of saw the acceleration and the speed that Null ran with and does run with. And that's the element of his game that I'm most excited to see the Texans utilize. He talked about it, how he could use his speed in special teams. He even mentioned on coverage units for kicks, Jaylen Null, you're going to be returning the kicks if you're on the coverage or if you're on the special teams units. You're not going to be covering stuff, but I appreciate the enthusiasm and the willingness to go out there and play some of those coverage snaps if indeed it does come to that. But what I'm excited about is something that Null talked about. Yeah, he used a lot in the slot at Iowa State, but he also won from the outside. And that's what I really get excited about when I think about Jaylen Null, is putting him outside, letting him use his speed and go out there and take the top off of defenses with that speed. Back those safeties off and let C.J. Stroud work that middle of the field where he had so much success 2 years ago. We saw a step back in that success with the way the defenses played him in 2024. So 2 thumbs up for the Iowa State wide receiver duo and their rookie minicamp performance. The defensive back duo that was available in the rookie minicamp, Jalen Smith and Jalen Reed. Excited to see exactly how these 2 players end up getting used, but what I can glean from those 2 defensive backs is each of them, for different reasons, is a Jalen Petrie backup player. Smith, who played inside and outside at USC, he's a coverage backup type of guy. He's the type of guy that maybe you bump down there into nickel on 3rd and long or 2nd and long, where you just know that wide receiver or that tight end is going to go out and try to catch a pass. And then you let Smith go in there and try to get some coverage usefulness out of that opportunity. Whereas with Reed, who, man, He looks every bit the 212 pounds that he's listed on his bio. Man, he is stout. You'll hear the word stout again a little bit later on when I talk about some other defenders, but Reed looks stout, and he's the only safety in camp. So he got 3-on-1 coaching from the coaches, and he worked some line of scrimmage stuff. He worked some change of direction stuff. Play recognition, one of the criticisms of Jaylen Reed's game. So if he fixes that and fine-tunes that over the next couple of years, maybe he even turns into a starter. But as far as that line of scrimmage physicality nature to what Jalen Pitre does at the nickel cornerback spot, at the nickel spot, star linebacker, the Pitre position, whatever the hell you want to call it, feels like Jaylen Reed may have an opportunity to fill in on some of those moments if Petre's unavailable, needs a breather, or something of that nature. So Jalen Smith, Jaylen Reed, the roles still to be determined, but it does look like on that depth chart, you could find both of those guys, both Smith and Reed, in a situation where they could fill in for Jalen Pitre in a pinch. And of course, Smith, with his versatility from his time on the Trojans defense, he could also help you out as a backup cornerback as well. Got an offensive and a defensive for you. Get to another offensive, another defensive for you right after I tell you about my friends at The Perfect Gene. The Perfect Gene, it's pretty simple. Throw those old jeans away, get you some new jeans that are lightweight, super comfortable, stretchy. They're the best jeans ever. They're the jeans that I wear now when I put on jeans. I got a black pair. I got a light blue pair. I love them. I'm going to get me a gray pair as well. There's a tons of different colors. There's tons of different styles as well. Maybe you want a little bit more of a slim fit. Maybe you wear a lot of boots. You want a boot cut. The Perfect Jean has something for everybody. 30,000 five-star reviews. Don't worry about those 30,000 people that love it. I'm telling you, I love it. I'm a big guy. Hard for me to find jeans. The Perfect Jean is where you can find you an incredible pair of jeans and so much more, too. They got khakis. They got shirts. It's a ton of great stuff. The Perfect Jean. Use the link in the description down below. 15% off, free shipping, free returns. If you get something that doesn't quite fit right, return it, get what you want. Free exchanges as well. The Perfect Jean. Use the link in the description down below. Get your 15% off, your free returns, your free shipping, your free exchanges, and get you a perfect pair of jeans like I have. I got 2 of them, actually. Going to have 3 pretty soon as well. Let's talk about the offensive lineman. Not a lot to glean from a rookie minicamp situation when it comes to offensive linemen, but the first thing you notice is Ariante Ursary is a giant human being. I mean, he looks every bit the part of what he was drafted to do as much as any rookie the Texans have drafted in recent years. Like, he cuts a presence through the warm-up line. 6'6", 330. He looks like he's actually a little bit bigger than that, but he carries the weight well. It's evenly distributed, and he is a big individual. I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table. The Texans have mentioned that he's going to start out at tackle, and he said he'd do whatever the team needs him to do. And I got to imagine that includes playing right tackle, even though he played primarily left tackle at Minnesota for the Golden Gophers. So either tackle spot, Ursary is ready for it. He talked about the overlap in culture forward conversations. Some of the messaging was familiar to him as Minnesota stressed being a good teammate, doing your work, the swarm mentality. I guess it's the row your boat mentality up there at Minnesota with the Golden Gophers. But Ursary saw a lot of overlap, and he, again, looks the part. Just like Jaden Higgins looks the part at wide receiver at 6'4", big physical player. I can't wait to see Ursary get his hands on some defensive linemen when training camp rolls around and really kind of glean what you can get out of these offensive linemen. A couple of other names of offensive linemen that are at the mini camp. Ladarius Henderson, not a rookie, a second-year player, but didn't play at all last year due to a multiple foot injury. So Henderson getting some early work with the rookies out there, and he is another big individual. He's listed at 6'4", just over 300 pounds, but he looks stout in his upper body. You'll hear that word again here in a few minutes when I talk about the other side of the line of scrimmage. But he looks stout. He was very flexible. So was Eli Cox, the undrafted free agent center, who also looked like a big guy. Man, these offensive linemen, they just looked bigger than I remember the offensive linemen over the past couple of years for the Texans. Looking like Kenyon Green, after he came back and transformed his body, he didn't feel or look big. Juice Scruggs doesn't cut an imposing presence just yet on the offensive line. Shaq Mason, maybe last year he looked too big. Okay, these guys, Ursery and Henderson, and Eli Cox, the undrafted free agent center out of Kentucky, they just looked big. I like big offensive linemen. Okay, it feels like they're more likely to get their job done the bigger they are on the offensive line. And look, they're all just options for the Texans. I don't know if Ursery is going to beat out either of the tackles. I don't know if Henderson, having not played last year, is going to beat out any of the guards. And I got no idea if Cox has enough to go in there and take one of the center jobs away from the guys on this roster. But it's options. They are options for the Texans, and that's the approach that they wanted to have this year, is have a lot of options along the offensive line. Ursery on the outside, Henderson and Cox on the inside. Speaking of options, well, there's tons of options in the defensive tackle room, and I like both of these rookies for different reasons. The drafted defensive tackle, Keontae Hamilton from Rutgers, and the undrafted free agent defensive tackle, Junior Tafuna from Utah. I like both of them for different reasons. Let's talk about Hamilton first. Okay, he looks like a throwback defensive tackle. He is a rotund fella. He has a lot of weight in his midsection. He has a low center of gravity. And despite looking like he maybe is a little bit too heavy, those feet were moving quick in a lot of the drills. He looked like a throwback defensive tackle that you'd plop out there and really slow some things down for the opposing offense. Now, again, you didn't get a lot of offense on defense. You just got them hitting the pads and firing off the ball. But you do like to see some of the agility from a bigger bodied player like Keontae Hamilton. Speaking of bigger bodies, Junior Tafuna. He looked bigger than when I watched him at the Senior Bowl earlier this year. Kind of a theme here. These Senior Bowl guys go out there, the Senior Bowl after the season. Maybe, they've kind of dripped some weight off over the course of the season, got back in the weight room. They're ready here a few months later and looking a little bit bigger. Tafuna was a really productive player at Utah for the Utes. D'Amico Ryans actually, when I asked him, heaped a good amount of praise on Tafuna.
Yeah, the thing I saw with Tafuna is a really big, strong guy he's very versatile. I like him in the run game and in the pass game. I think he does both. Young guy who can come in and add some depth to our interior defensive line. That's what we've been looking to do, is continue to upgrade that position, find younger guys who can help us out there. And I think Tafuna is a guy who, seeing his college tape, he can help us.
Now, look, Hamilton and Tafuna, they got a long road to try to make this roster. So they better be putting in the work, fine-tuning everything, because they've got a ton of guys who've played a ton of football and have had lots of success, not only in the NFL, but with the Houston Texans, that they'd have to go out there and beat out to make the roster. It's a long shot for both of them, but hey, it's options, and you never know when one of those guys is going to be hanging out on the practice squad, and then you might need them later in the year, and then boom, they become a guy that you trust. Sound familiar? Oh yeah, the Texans did that last year with Tommy Togiai, and then they trusted him a bunch down the stretch, and he made a couple of plays for the Texans. Maybe that's Hamilton and Tafuna's route. Right now, they're just worried about getting their feet wet at the NFL level. And those are my 4 observations from the rookie minicamp workout. You can read well over 1,000 words of the observations over at Houston Football. Of course, SNL with myself and Landry Locker from the Locker Room will have a big breakdown for you of the rookie minicamp as well. So the next few days, plenty to talk about with these rookies. Appreciate you watching the video. What did I miss here in the rookie minicamp breakdown? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out my friends at The Perfect Gene. 15% off your first order, as well as free shipping, free exchanges, free returns. Man, what more could you ask for? I don't know. How about the perfect pair of jeans? Well, you can get it using my link in the description down below. Appreciate you watching the video. Already said that. Hope you enjoyed it. Can't wait till we talk Texans again soon.